Well, welcome everyone to today's Q&A. My name is Gary Gerwer. I'll be hosting, and Paul Higgins will be driving documentation for us. And Marshall and I noticed they've updated our Zoom screen, so hopefully everything works and we don't run into any glitches, but it looks like they just updated the user interface a bit. So some announcements for today. The CDE would like us to announce that the version 15.2 of the CALPADS system and documentation has been published. So you get the latest, greatest documents there on the page that Paul's showing you under the system documentation. And the next thing is the end of year training has started, and we have CSIS has updated end of year training information available. And Paul's going to take us to the site where you can find the training information. And I think that's all I had to say about that, but there is updated training and there are live sessions going right now that you can sign up for. And also we do have the YouTube videos, not a lot of changes in end of year. And so the existing YouTube videos are available to view, and then they will be updated as the live trainings are being recorded now for future use. And one other announcement, CSIS is going to be taking part in a professional development. I almost forgot what PD stood for, tomorrow and Friday for half of the day. So do expect some delay possibly in our ticket responses tomorrow. And that is all the announcements I have. Martha or Angela, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Our professional development is Thursday and Friday, Gary.
Oh, okay. And that's right, both days. Okay, and as always, Paul's showing you our active and fixed known issues. So as always, you can check here at the known issues. If you're having something words happening, please check here first to see if it's an issue that's already been logged.
There's one missing there. We just patched the SSID match tool. So if you're experiencing problems with that starting on Tuesday, that is fixed now.
Yes, quite a lot of tickets on that. Okay. And the window just popped up. Why does CD want parent guardian name reported to CalPADS? What do they do with the name information? This is not a question about parent. This is not a question about parent education levels. I wouldn't know the answer why we want their name. Anyone else know the answer
I
to that?
believe it's optional, though. It's not a required field, right?
Right. It is, that's right. There's not a little star in that field, so it's optional. Okay, Q1 from Laura. We have students who have exited and are attending an online charter based out of Pennsylvania. Should the exit code be T200 transferred to US or T180 transferred to a private school? They are still living here in California. I looked up the charter school and they state they are a regionally and nationally accredited high school. That seems like it would be T200. And Nathan agrees with me. Or no, he put both. But I do believe T200. And at 3:02, Paul posted the system docs link. Q1 from Litania. Hello, I have a student who was suspended on September 26th with a referral to expulsion. The student has a pending expulsion hearing, and based on the expulsion hearing, it was decided the student should be expelled. The hearing was on November 30th, therefore the student was exited on the same date, November 30th. I received notification from another LEA stating the student started on November 9th and that I need to update the student's exit date to clear the CCE. I'm afraid that by doing this, I will no longer be able to add the CERS record. What is the correct process for exiting a student who is pending an expulsion hearing and enrolls in another LEA? Well, I know the exit date should be the last full day of enrollment at your school. And then, so,
Can I
go
jump
ahead.
in, Gary?
Yes, please.
The one thing that I will say though is that if the student exits to another district, you can still report the expulsion, even though the expulsion wasn't approved until later, right? Because the expulsion is tied to the incident and the incident happened way before. So long as the incident occurrence date happened within the student's enrollment with you, you'll be able to report that expulsion. You're not going to report the date of the expulsion, just the duration. So that should be fine.
Yep. Thanks, Alex. Q1 from Colleen. Do we need to report services for EL students as part of end of year or only during fall too? Asking for a Fred. And Sean gave an answer. All students through the year, please. Questions from friends are gladly accepted. Q1 from Elizabeth. When is the rollout date for accommodations expected? Is there information on whether our special ed vendors will upload to TOMS or CALPADS, or expectation is for them to send that to our SIS? Very confused about the process. Anyone able to respond to that one?
I did see Thor was on. Thor, do you know what they're talking about?
His mic doesn't work. Maybe he can type it in if he has an answer. But
Isn't now. So as far as I know, the special education accommodation comes from the student with disability status record. And if it's not populated right now, they won't show up correctly in TOMS. And if you fix that in CALPADS today, it could take a couple days for that to get updated in TOMS. But I don't know what the rollout that you're referring to is about.
Okay, Q1 from Leah. After we certified end of year last August, I downloaded the accountability report 15.2 for cohort outcome student details for 22-23. It was my understanding for the ACGR training that the 15.2 report for the end of year certified would now be frozen. That should be correct. In March 2024, I downloaded the same 15.2 report for the same year. The number of records and number of cohort graduates in the March 2024 report were different from that for the August 2023 report. DataQuest counts matched the 23 report and not the March 24 report. The difference between the two reports are fairly slight, but a bit unsettling given my assumption that the report should have been frozen. Is this a bug, or is 15.2 no longer frozen for a given year after end of year certification? Well, it's good that the, Sean says please place a ticket. But I do think it's good that DataQuest matched what you certified and was frozen on August 2023. But we may want to take it with that, do some investigation.
And isn't the cohort ODS? So it will, if any changes have been made even from prior year.
Oh, good point, Kyron.
Not quite though. We have a calendar that we set up to stop it processing for certain, so that it ends at the same time as end of year ends. So it's a little bit different there.
Okay.
Sonoan, Q2, will there be an end of year 2 training with CSIS? Trainers?
End of year 2 is usually just the online version because there's not that many changes. But during the regular versions of end of year, we cover, especially the advanced cover, anything that needs to be covered in that.
Thanks, Marshall. Kyron made a comment at 305. Please refresh the known issues page. You may need to clear your browser cache to reveal the updates. Oh, I'm not sure if that was for everybody or not. Q1 from Teresa. I recently had Plan 620 4 errors pop up on my data discrepancies. It does not look like there is a current defect, but wanted to double check. I don't believe there's an error for that. If that's the one I'm thinking about, it recently got turned on and or changed. Is this the one with the age? No. Oh, this is the one where there's a plan record. Okay, so that's what this one is. Missing eligible and participating status for a plan record. So you have a plan record that shows a student should be eligible and participating and eligible in special ed, but the SWS record doesn't reflect that. So a lot of times I've seen a couple tickets where it's showing not eligible. So if the plan record is accurate, you need to add an SWS record showing eligible and participating. But if they're not eligible and participating, then the plan record should be corrected or removed.
And Alex, is there something going on with SACE?
Yeah,
Regarding that error.
I was gonna bring it up during this our meeting with the special ed office today, but we ran out of time. So what I've heard from tickets is that SACE users, it automatically creates a bundle for you. And so even though the student was determined not eligible, it still creates that plan record and it sends it up to us when it shouldn't, right? Because plans should always be associated with an eligible and participating. Otherwise, the kid wouldn't have a plan. So I don't know if that is something that was already fixed from SACE or if that's still an issue with SACE. So just something we need to talk to the SPED office again, or, on Monday.
Sorry, this is Dominic. I've seen this error as well. We talked about it briefly at the roadshow, just because we hadn't really explored it much. We found it was happening when students they would have their eligibility reevaluation, and then on the same day that they were determined ineligible, they would be exited. And so in SACE, they would affirm the meeting, which creates the transactions, including the plan and serve file, and then they would exit the student, process the exit in the system, and that would create the status file, but it would have the same effective start date. So in a sense, you were reporting that the student has a plan on April 15th, and we also exited them on April 15th.
Yeah.
So if I believe the ticket that I had seen responded to recommended removing the plan so that the status remained effective for that date. I didn't know that was a SACE issue. Have they said that was like a bug, or is it just through the normal business practices we run into this?
All the tickets I've had said that they were going to take it back to SACE. I haven't heard back saying that it was a confirmed bug or not.
Okay, I can reach out as well.
Great, thanks, Dominic. Q1 from Sonoan. What is the correct exit code for a student expelled and going to an alternative ed school within the district? Staff has been using 300, but we know where they are going. I believe that's a T165. Q1 from Claudia. The April direct cert list is pulling duplicates for some of the April matches. I have a ticket open, but have not received any updates. Will this issue be fixed, or should schools with this issue delete the duplicates from their list? I hadn't seen that ticket, or I haven't heard of this. I don't know if that would be a CALPADS defect or why there would be duplicates. But I imagine if it's an exact duplicate, would just delete it.
Oh, I found her ticket. It's assigned to Walt, so he's out this week. So I will respond to you, Claudia.
Thanks, Angela. Question 1 from Charlene. Our Ed Services Department would like to know the rate for EL students reclassified to RFEP within the year. What reports will give me that info? Do we have a report that we give the rate? Doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, no rate. I was looking for counts. Apologies.
Yeah. Only thing I can think of is just getting the report for the counts of RFEPs. Might take a little work with comparing AULs and RFEPs from your data, but we don't have one that shows the rate. However, Natasha says you should be able to generate that from your SIS, and Rebecca says see slide 25 from the link that she provided. So thanks, you guys. Okay, a lot of comments. Question one from Christopher. We are having some turnover in our operations department, and we recently found out that the teaching credentials that are listed as required for our teachers do not match what our teachers actually need. In the CALPADS system, the teachers are listed as needing multiple subjects teaching credentials with an EL authorization. However, we are a French bilingual charter school. Wouldn't our teachers need a multiple subject teaching credential with French bilingual authorization? How do we go about changing this? And we did get a response from Sean that says, please consult with your LEA credential and analyst and or place a service ticket and include the course codes and teachers' seats. And they will take a look at it. Okay. That is the end of the Q1s. I believe we had a couple Q2s. And you can continue adding Q1s if you want. Sue-Ann Minden, Q2. Dominic, my usual question.
Hi, Sue-Ann. Unusual answer. Progress is occurring. I've got, I would say, more than half of the submission scenarios done. You know, it's a busy time right now with the roadshows, but I'm grinding on it every spare moment I have. I still anticipate I will have the submission scenarios and sort of the guide outlining what is expected and how to report it still by the end of April. You know, fingers crossed, and you know, keep me in your thoughts.
Okay, thanks, Dominic. And I think we had a Q2 from Snowen. No, I'm not seeing it. Oh no, we already answered that one. Okay, new Q1 from Asha. What's the ETA on getting the following known issue fixed? The SINF 0060F1. There it is, right on the bottom of it. 6816.
It did get deprioritized because we're focusing on end of year right now. So it looks like it is towards the end of the month here.
Excellent. And that is the last Q1, or question, I should say. So we'll pause for a second because usually that means, there we go, more coming in. Q1 from Doug. Hey, Doug. Can you repost the link that was posted at 3:02? I connected a few minutes late and heard about the link, but did not see it in chat. You had a link at 3:02? Is that the one from Paul? Oh, that's the system documents, Doug. So that's, you can just go, yeah, just go to the CDE page. We can repost the link, but it's just a generic, the same CDE page that's been there forever. And it's just, that was just about the updated version 15.2. Okay. Q1 from Lou. Is there a known issue with not able to see historical incidents and offenses from other LEAs?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So if you want a ticket for that one, we can investigate that for you.
Any more questions? Well, the office hours that the SPED department has at CD, that went an hour and 45 minutes, and we might, oh, here we go. Here's some more questions. Nope, just more comments.
Take advantage of us now, folks. We're going to be getting professionally developed the next 2 days. Sue-Ann says.
Q1 from Larney. Sorry, I missed. Whoops. I'm sorry. The screen just popped up on me. I'm sorry. I missed all that Dominic had explained earlier regarding the 620 E4. We do have a few, and some students were assessed and then withdrew. One student is not enrolled in our LEA, although we are the district of geographic residence. Is there still a bug on this error? A bug, I'm sure. There is no bug. Well, there may be something in SACE, but in CALPADS, if you have a plan, but the student is showing not eligible, and the student is not eligible, that plan should be removed. And from what Alex was saying, and I think Dominic as well, something was coming out in a bundle that was, even though the student was not eligible, was putting in an accompanying plan record. And it doesn't make sense to have a plan record if the student is not eligible. So you'd want to remove the plan record. However, if the student is eligible, you'd want to upload a SWS record saying so. Q2 from Laura. Can you please follow up with Kelly W at 325 who responded to my Q1? I will try. Kelly, okay, so Kelly says at 325, and this is regarding students, this is the one, students exiting, or a student exited to a private school or a school out of state. I'm confused. What is the driving factor on this? Where the student lives or where the student is based? We have the same situation. Student is enrolled in an accredited based Kansas City school, but still lives here. Would that be a T180 or a T200? I think if they're attending a school out of state, you would use the T200. And if they're attending a private school, you would use the T280, even if they're living here. Where they're attending is, because you're not going to have the enrollment history at your institution.
So Gary, it's going to be based upon if that student still resides within your boundaries. That's what's going to take precedence, because you have your child welfare and attendance monitor then, and your LEA has an obligation to ensure that that student is receiving a compulsory education. So if the student has actually transferred out of state and is living out of state, then I would recommend using that T200 because that is a clear indication that the student has moved, relocated. If the student is attending a charter school or a private school, indicating like typically you can find that information on their website that says they charge a tuition, then that is but that student is still residing within your boundaries. Their physical address location of where they live is within your boundaries, and I would recommend using a T180.
Great, thanks, Sean. Suan says, I can't stand Russian dolls. They are so full of themselves. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Suan. I'm sorry, the page is popping all over the place. Q2 from Charlene. With enrollment, we enroll preschool students in our preschool program for assessment purposes. But every once in a while, our preschool students got enrolled in our private school group with 50 non-primary enrollment status. Will it cause any issues down the road if we enroll preschool students alternatively between preschool and private school? Milo answered that one. No, this should not cause any issues. Please note that when the student exits preschool, ensure the proper exit code is used in the enrollment record, which is the code E450. Thanks, Milo. Q3 from Sonoan. I requested an SSID for a new student, but she did not attend on a particular day. Do I use exit code 470 for that record and create a new enrollment record when she starts, then delete the first record? Yeah, that'll work. And I think that's it again, unless I missed anybody. We'll pause again. We have 29 minutes. Elisa made a comment, there's a FAQ for out of state online schools. And as a question Q1, what is the professional development about on Thursday and Friday? Just curious. Part of it is AI based. We're gonna get some talking to about that, and then can't remember the other stuff. We have a couple guest speakers, but I can't remember what their topics are.
Special education and is it this CCGI folks, I think?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Focus on AI though.
Suan said, Gary, they could never replace you with AI. Well, I don't know. Not right yet, but it's getting close. I've done some really neat things with ChatGPT. First asked Q1, for what use is AI being considered? I don't know. I think it's just to get us all on board with the potential uses of it. You know, we develop a lot of CALPADS and we don't just do CALPADS. So that maybe they're looking at us as an assistant, you know, as time progresses.
It's the wave of the future.
Yep. Sonoan says, thanks for adding another training for the EOI primer. A Terminator reference, I think, from Jan. Is Sarah Connor one of your speakers? That's funny. Okay, Q2 from Lonnie. Follow up to my Q1. So we have a student under the heir plan 0621D-E4. The student had a plan from another LEA, moved with us. We sent in a plan adoption, but the parent ended up withdrawing the student from SPED. We are then deleting the plan record, which is the adoption plan baseline record under RLA, but leave the SWS status of eligible and not participating. I believe that's okay.
Larnie, I think that would work, but if you want to send in a ticket so we can look at the specifics around the dates, the effective start dates on those records.
Thanks, Dominic. Oh, this is good. You guys are funny. Chris says, I'm pretty sure if CALPADS were intelligent, it would immediately turn against us. Sometimes I think it already has.
Yeah, I think we've had that discussion before, Gary.
Yeah.
It's out to get us.
Q1 from Marina. Is the SIMP 0060F1 affecting students that started TK at 3 years old when putting their 4th birthday in the US K through 12 date? And I'm getting this error.
So we do have a change coming. The error that you're getting is, I'm guessing, SIMP 59, and that is being adjusted right now because it's, and Doug will attest to this, he's you get kind of stuck in a loop trying to fix those errors. So it doesn't let you fix the SIMP 60s because you have a SIMP 59. So it's only going to trigger on enrollment or SIMP records that were effective after 2013, which was when SIMP 59 was introduced in the first place. And so those really old records, it won't trigger on those anymore. Back to Claudia's original question, I think she found a bug with, it looks like direct cert is
Duplicates?
Yeah, both when you request it by active student or by date range, it's getting some dupes in there. So I'm in the process of sending that ticket up, Claudia. So we'll get that work done.
Awesome. Cradle to Grave, Dominic says that's a Jet Li movie, isn't it? Charlene asks Q3, will there be training for end of year 2 or end of year 4 available for signing up? So far, there's end of year 1 and 3 trainings only. I don't know that there will be one for end of year 2. I think it's included in the overall end of year. And the end of year 4, I think there will be. Not sure when or.
I believe the first iteration of end of year 4 is on Friday the 26th.
Ah, thanks, Matt. And Jamie posted that as well. Okay, this is being recorded. Question 1 from Laureen. Is this being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. I missed the discussion about the plan 0620E4 and I have over 200 in the data discrepancies. So what we've discovered in this Q&A is that if you have a plan record, it's expected that the student would be eligible and participating in special education. But a lot of times what we find is there is not eligible and participating or not eligible status. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, anyways. So what we found out, what we're kind of understanding is it's possible that SACE, when you're sending up a not eligible, is including plan records. So there might be an issue with SACE. We're still looking into that, or still might need to look into that. But what it means is if the student is not eligible, there shouldn't be a plan record. So probably need to remove the plan record. If the student is eligible and the plan record is supposed to be there, then you need to add an SWS record that says the student is eligible and participating in special education.
So I said that wrong about SIM 59. It's the SIM 60 that's getting updated, the actual data discrepancy itself. So that will only trigger on enrollments after 2013.
Okay.
And it is in Tuesday's release. It's
perfect.
being handed off to the testers right now.
Laureen followed up. So keep the meeting transaction and delete the plan transaction.
Laureen, if you're talking about Plan 620E4, it's a conflict between the plan and the status record. So you can delete the plan record, but you want to keep the meet record just to show that you've met statutory timelines.
Thanks, Dominic. So Anne, she's saying, can I replace?
Skip that.
Okay.
Yes, Doug, I believe it should be pretty confident unless testing goes south. It should be in Tuesday's release.
Okay, Arlene says she added notes to her Q1. Can you revisit my Q1 at 329? All right. The screen doesn't keep popping up on me. The thing is, when it pops up, the timestamps are all over the place. So I have no idea where it's at now. Arlene. I'm not finding it. I know you asked one, but I'm not finding the question.
Gary, I think that is the one that was regarding the preschool students in the preschool program for assessment purposes. And I think,
Hey Gary, I found it.
Oh, Paul, you faded out.
Okay, I apologize. I'm using a broken headset. So her response at 339 is to use exit code E450. The student has to be enrolled in preschool. Private school only allows the E170.
Okay. And that sounds right.
yeah. And Charlene, I'll follow up and with my team, and then I'll respond to your email.
Thanks, Bilo.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay, we have a Q1 from Julie. A plan 0390, 391, and 393 are flagging fatal errors on adoptions and interim placements. I sent a ticket to CALPADS and they said they were going to refer it to SPED, and I have not heard anything. What should be done to clear these errors? These are the ones oh, go ahead, Alex, go ahead.
Someone we just talked about in our earlier meeting. And Julie, and this, just to clarify for everyone, whenever you're adopting a plan from a previous district, if the plan that you're adopting has missing data, for example, in this case, it was the post-secondary goals field, it just wasn't populated. The response that we got from the SPED office was, when you're adopting the plan, go ahead and select N for those fields.
Oh, that's right.
So that it's not triggering the error for you. You just can't have it blank. So set it to N, and that will resolve the errors for that adopted plan you submitted.
And then just to add to that, Alex, if the student is 16, then those fields are required. So if you do adopt it with selecting no or N on that adoption, be sure to amend it with the updated transition indicators.
Yeah. And in this case, I think Julie had done that. It's just the adopted part was the one that was missing, but yes. Mhm.
Okay. I think that is all the questions so far. Chris posted he generated a ChatGPT haiku on CalPads. Errors in CalPads, data lost in digital waves, frustration echoes.
Oh my God. That's perfect.
Says I missed this question at 3:41. And I did miss it. I didn't even see a question from Eldrick there, and there it is. One of our former kindergarten students who was classified as an EO based on the HLS home language survey form filled out by parents in 2015, was tested by another LEA and reclassified as an EL in 2018. They're now asking us to remove our EO record. What should the next appropriate step to resolve this matter be? It may need well, if the student is getting an EL and they were tested in 2018, I think that takes precedence. If their primary language was not English and there was an error on the home language survey originally, do they have to remove the EO record?
Part of me says no, because then you
Yeah.
lose that historical, for that beginning chunk, that student was reported as EO based on the home language survey. So I personally wouldn't want to lose that data because it was true then.
And
I don't know if others have different opinions on it.
Because they're definitely going to count as EL now until they become RFEP. If they become RFEP, it overrides the earlier EO. It wouldn't cause any errors. Okay, question 1 from Marcy. Are DDs being added? I checked yesterday and had none. I checked 15 minutes ago and had 2. Just checked now and those 2 are gone and now I have 5. I don't know, Angela, what do you think about that one?
Yes, we turned on a couple on Tuesday. I don't know about why they would be disappearing. Just make sure you're clicking apply filter after you toggle between the certification submissions. Because if you just change the submission, it doesn't repopulate the screen. And I think they're winding down on those data discrepancies. I don't think we're expecting too many more. Yeah, every Tuesday is a white knuckle day here at CSIS. Like, what did they unleash on us?
Marcy, did I miss your question at 3:40? Oh no, I just read that one. Q3 from Suan. When will the new CalPads users guide be published? I'm referring to the data guide. I think they're working on that. CDE is working on that. Last question here. It's for you, Alex. Back to Litanya's question at 3:02 regarding the student who got expelled on 11:30. To avoid the CCE, is it okay to exit the student anytime before 11:09 when he registered with another LEA? Well, it should be the last day the student was enrolled with you. Should be the exit date.
I know a lot of the times you keep the student enrolled pending expulsion, right? And I believe, and I think Paul may have brought it up in one of the CDE's FAQs, but there is documentation that says that you exit the student either when the student re-enrolls at another California public school, or when you have that expulsion approved by the board. So in this case, you would do the exit just whenever, the day before the student moves over to the next district. But you should be able to still report the expulsion because, again, it's tied to the incident date.
Perfect.
The CCE anomaly section of the SSID enrollment procedures document at the bottom of CALPADS has that verbiage.
Thanks, Karen. Q1 from Julie. My apologies if this is a repeat. The degree of support should be populated prior to 6/30/2024, if possible, as this field must be populated in order to affirm, exit, or transfer the student starting July 1st, 2024. Is this true? I heard it may be delayed, getting conflicting information.
So we covered this in the roadshow today. Fortunately, Christy from SACE joined us. They were going to require it in order to affirm or exit or release records. But since the guidance came from CDE, literally the day after they made that decision to require it, they are now going to not require it. Stay tuned for further changes.
Okay. I think that's the end of the questions. We have about 8 minutes left. Any last? Yes, we do. Oh, no, that one's already been asked. Oh, wait, no, I think it's a follow-up to the question. We have a student who's classified as EO based on their completed. In November, we are finding that the HSL may have been an error because the student was born outside of the country and there's evidence that the student is not proficient in English. Should I change the ELA to EL or TBD with a seller correction reason? Well, you can't make an EL record because that comes from Tom's, but you could put in well, I guess it depends. Did I put a correction reason in for this one, or is it just
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
I was looking it up. It's on the valid code combination. You have that open, Paul? Correction reason code 1, evidence of non-English primary language.
And then once you get that in, then the TBD, and then the student will be eligible to be tested.
And the tab, Paul, is current ELAS - submitted ELAS correction code.
I'm sorry, we were looking for EO to what? Or EL to what?
EO to TBD.
Is it the next tab over?
There we go. On the bottom, just as Angela had said.
Just make sure you're filtering out expired codes.
Okay. Q4 from Suan. Paul, what magic tool are you using to search and highlight web pages?
Control F. It opens up the search functionality for the browser down at the bottom. And you just type in your keyword, make sure it says highlight all, and then it'll give you how many it found, and you scroll through them using the arrows.
Great. Q1 from Evan, crowdsourcing this question that I just received. If a student enrolled as a kindergartner in the US school, then left the country and returned as a 5th grader, Do we indicate that the student has been in the U.S. school for less than 3 years or more than 3 years? That's a cumulative, so you just have to add up the years that they were in the school.
So yeah, less than.
Yep. Five more minutes, folks. Any more questions? Well, I think we got 4 minutes left, but I think we're going to go ahead and call it. Thanks for all the humor today. It's always helpful, and I hope we answered your questions. Again, if you have any questions between now and next Wednesday, go ahead and submit them in the service ticket. And a reminder that you may be getting delayed responses from the service desk because of our PD tomorrow and Friday. We'll see everyone next week.